So welcome to another video from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander.
And I'm Grant.
And I'm Greg.
Yes, we're here at WBC 2023, and we just got here and could not wait any longer to sit down with Greg Smith. Very gracious of you to spend time with us.
Honor's mine. You guys do good work, so I'm more than happy to take time out to talk to me.
We've played a lot of your games, love them, and we're here just to kind of talk about what we got upcoming.
Sure.
So let's kind of dive on in about what we've got right on the table here.
Well, you know, I only brought a couple of prototypes this year to save time.
Four, right?
Well,
only four.
But this
and
is.
Greg told me he was slowing down.
Yeah.
So
I am getting older, but this is Rebel Tide, so it's the fourth game actually in the Tide system. And because Imperial Tide did so well, and it was actually nominated for a CSR award, for which I was.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I was very grateful. I mean, didn't win, but I was very grateful even for that honor. So I'm no complaints. But I thought that was a neat little game. But the Tide system, it works, and it allows.
Playable.
Well, that's it. It allows you to play a war in an evening.
Yep.
Depending on what that war. And in this case, we're going to go with the Civil War. So. It's essentially the same system. We get, it's card driven, just like the other Tide games, but this iteration introduces leaders and also a political track. So though we hadn't really had that in any of the previous games. I mean, it wasn't much political negotiation between Japan and the United States. It was.
No.
Yeah, there was a lot of anger there.
Yeah. Well, not that there was any shortage of anger here, but there was a potential for politics, especially with outside
Britain and
France. So I added a political track because it made sense. Added the leaders because that made sense. And the leaders actually are kind of neat because they influence your ability to advance after combat, which is big. But other than that, it's reasonably playable. My design objective, as I've tried with most of the Tide series, is to represent a situation, and it's playable in the evening. So we got the whole Civil War playable in the evening, reasonably historical. I mean, it is a game. I mean, it is card driven, but I think I touch all the major bases. So I'm happy with it. It's I've had a couple of Civil War nut jobs, and you know who you are.
And we're very proud of it too.
Yes, and they actually have made a lot of suggestions. This has gone through a lot of play testing at 3 different conventions now, actually.
Okay.
Over a year of testing, and Bruce Yerian's going to be my artist. I'm thrilled with that. Bruce does awesome work. I still love the cover he did for me for America Bomber. I think it might be my favorite cover. Except for Western Front Ace is pretty cool too. But anyway, all that aside,
you've been blessed with great artists.
Yeah, and really that's half the battle,
Yeah.
And of course, just as an aside, real quick, I was telling people at the Compass Con, we are actually in a second golden age of gaming, and some people just don't appreciate it. They're taking this for. You don't understand those old ugly games. I mean, we've got high tech. The graphics are eye-popping because of the software allows the artists to really do a smash-out job. So we got that for the counters and the maps, and everything's just gorgeous nowadays. And oh, by the way, if you have a question on a game, in the good old days, you'd write a letter to Avalon Hill.
Sure.
And you'd get a response in 4 months, or maybe it would be in the next general, whenever, 6 months down the road. What are we looking at today? 3 hours later, you get 5 answers on Board Game Geek,
And you're very good about supporting.
Well, I
games.
try.
You try to get on there and answer questions, and
you know what my record is? 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
That's pretty good.
I was like, oh yeah.
I assume when you register for those and you get an email saying somebody's got a comment on there for you.
Well, I just happened to log in, and I see it's more like 6, 12, whatever.
Yeah, right, 20.
Yeah, so I get it. So I just happened to log in, and I looked up and I saw the guy said, Joe Blow said, 3 minutes ago, what about this? And I was like, boop, 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 my new record. But anyway, but that's a blessing. Think about that. You're getting answers to questions in almost real time. And so we really shouldn't take that for granted, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, and errata are shared pretty quickly.
Yeah,
Email,
and all games have it. I mean, I'm not going to go there, but the thing is, I think we're living in a golden age, and we ought to appreciate it.
Yeah.
Be thankful, gentlemen. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, Imperial Tide. When is it going to come out? I don't know. It's down my personal list because I have a lot of games in front of it personally. However, having said that, this is the one I've got an artist actively working on right now, which means it's probably going to finish before anything else. I don't know. I'm really hopeful for next year on this one.
Okay.
So I think that's a real possibility.
And you already mentioned it. It's not just a reskin of the system. It adds the political track.
Oh yeah, this is. I mean, it uses the same core card-driven engine, but.
And has leaders, so those are.
But the leaders and the political track are two different new mechanics that you'll have to manage. So.
And there's a good chunk of asymmetry between the two different cards of the factions.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. There's a definite asymmetry. Well, and anybody who knows anything about the Civil War realizes that the Union had that smashing production advantage, and so that is represented. And as a Confederate, if you get smashed down to historical situation, that isn't that. As long as you can do a little better than that historically, you can still win.
Yeah.
And there's also quick win rules, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. So that's that one. What do you want to talk about next?
Well,
you've got American or a British tank ace.
What's in your hand?
Oh yeah, the one that makes you happy.
Oh yes, it does.
So British Tank Ace is going to. I guess I hope you can edit my awkward pauses out here. Nope, they
We
stay.
don't do editing. I don't know if you know this. We don't do edits.
All right. Well, British Tank Ace is American follow-on to American Tank Ace, which did also get nominated for Charles Roberts Award. Since
Congrats.
Again, thank you. I'm honored. I didn't win, but that's okay. I'm one of these days my ship will come in, I guess. And these are the charts I wanted to show.
Yeah, the 3 operations.
Yeah, well, and I have you can show that. I have the same artist, so the look and feel is going to be same to
this
American.
This is the mighty, powerful A9.
A9, yes.
Armor values 2.
2. It's your short lifespan if you're in that.
You better get out of this tank quickly is what you're saying.
But there's, 20 different tanks for British Tank Ace. The reason being is you start North Africa, and then from there you can go to Italy, or you can just go straight, wait and go straight to Europe. And you're just assumed to be hanging out in England waiting for the... So there's...
And you can play this a full campaign or just do
right. It's either do this, do that, or just one.
Yep.
Or in order, or
So
whatever
lots of
suits you. So there's a lot more content to this one. That's why instead of 10 tanks, I got 22 tanks, and there's different rules. You might end up on different maps. There's a different set of rules for North Africa as opposed to Europe, as opposed to Italy, because to take into account the nuances of the theater. So.
And as compared to American Tank Ace, which really just focused on the Western...
American Tank Ace is just 44 to the end of the war in Europe. That's it.
This starts at 1940.
This is 40, and you're fighting the Italians, and then you're fighting the Germans, and then you can go to Italy or do the D-Day thing. So there's a lot more to this one, but it's essentially the same system as American Tank Ace. Okay. Not a whole lot different.
And I want to remind you, people are okay with that.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
It's different theaters, it's different tanks, and that's great.
Yeah.
People that love this want to do more of it.
Well, and of course I did add crocodiles, flame-throwing tanks.
I made a quip that you need to make a Royal Engineering Corps game with crocodiles in it. And he said, poo-poo, moron, they're already in this one. There's a flamethrower counter, and you can torch people, and that's wonderful.
Yeah. How could you not put it in? I mean, I kind of had to,
So,
and there's, sequence of play cards. Those are helpful.
okay.
people are really on the solitaire games. Now this is standard procedure for me.
It just helps play it.
Well, it just lays it out for you, and it's helpful.
Any play aid is a good thing.
Yeah. So
So this is, what are we talking about time?
oh, we'll talk about Gotha Rayner now. I guess.
No. British Tank Ace, what kind of timeline are you looking at?
Oh, well, it's the next. I have an artist actively working on it, as you can see, but he's just started. It's going to be next year.
Okay.
For sure.
Late 24, mid to late 24, who knows?
Don't pin me down, brother. You've done that before, and it's been
24 maybe.
It's been a disaster every time I've made a prediction. So I refuse to. I'm not going down that track.
Sometime in the near future.
Yeah.
Let's leave it at that.
Gotha Raider was a really interesting personal voyage for me because I'd never done a magazine game yet. So this is my first magazine game. Ty Bomba approached me and I said,
Ty Bomba is the editor
of
Paper Wars.
Paper Wars, the Compass Games in-house mag.
We've done many of our interviews with him as well.
Oh, okay. So, well, Ty said, "Hey, do me a game."
Yeah.
Ty, by the way, Ty drives me nuts. He's like,
I
mean, in a nice way.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. I realize that's still running, but but it's like I do stuff like this. I'm like, I'll say something like, you know what? I'm thinking about doing a carrier game.
Uh-huh.
And I just will innocently type that up, and then Bomba's like all over me, like,
let's get that done.
Where's my article? Where's some images? Where's my,
Give me a second.
Ty, I just, give me a break, brother.
Well, as an editor, I'm sure he feels a lot of pressure for for that monthly.
Hey, he has nothing to bitch at it for me because I've written multiple articles for him. In fact, Western Front Ace had an article, American Tank Ace had an article, I think. I can't remember anymore. I just did another X-Pack and then most recent edition for Defending America.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like I've been slacking on him, but I mean, it's like, God, man, let me catch my breath. Anyway, but I'm actually very thankful Ty bugged me for this because I was like, I've never done a magazine game before. And guess what, guys? Totally different ball of wax. I was like, oh, man, I don't get my usual panoply. Well, that's
Panoply.
Thank you. That word full of, materials. It's like you get a map, you get some counters, and you get some. That's it.
So not 12 charts.
Yeah.
Not 22 bombers.
Yeah. So I kind of had to. I redesigned it from scratch. Using what I had, but I had to redo the whole shoot match, which was a really nice learning experience for me, and it gives me a better perspective on what these magazine guys go through. It's like, wow. Well, not my gig. Having said all that, this may be my only magazine game. But we'll see.
It's interesting because I do interview a lot of guys that do a lot of these magazine games. And I always ask them, how do you go about this? How is it different? And they all have their very similar comments.
It's a different gig, man.
You got to cut it down. You got to keep it simple.
Yeah, well, anyway, here's the map for Gotha Raider. There'll be some cool things in it. There was a lot of Gothas bombing England in 1917 and 1918, and they did more damage than the Zeppelins, which a lot of stuff I didn't know about them. So it was really a neat research journey for me, and I'm glad I went there. So, yeah, it'll be a neat game. Will it be my only one for maybe? But we'll see. Well, I like the full being able. Game. I like having every tool in my toolkit. Yeah, let's just put it that way.
Cool thing about
cards and whatever.
The cool thing about Gotha Raider, you mentioned you learned something new about the
light ships.
Ships. So maybe mention
well,
that.
That's kind of crazy. Instead of just having lighthouses off the coast of England, the English people for hundreds of years have had these things called light ships. It's basically a floating lighthouse. They just put a ship out there with oily rags or something, the navigational beacon, for the 1700s and back when. And they still had these things up until during the first World War, and they used them as an early warning system to detect when the Gotha bombers were coming in. So that's in the game. So I just thought that was kind of a neat thing. I'd never heard of light ships before, so it's kind of neat.
I also had not until you mentioned them not 20 minutes ago.
I'm a little shocked, but it's okay. I forgive you.
I've got to try and memorize 1,000 years of history.
Yeah, right.
So I can
We
be
have a couple
forgiven.
hundred years.
Well, you got to go. And so anyway, the last project I just brought just a few images.
This one looks pretty exciting.
Yeah.
We love the Pacific Theater, anything, frankly.
So basically, I am working on a game which tentative name is Carrier Ace.
That's just
Thai Bomber's going to love that.
Yeah, probably. And Carrier Ace, it's. I sometimes, just like anybody else, I have conceptual problems at times. So I'm stuck on this one, to be bluntly honest. I have an initial layout, as you can see. I mean, it's not like I have done zero work
hold that
on
up
it.
closer, Greg, just
Sure.
so they can get a good view of that.
It's not as if I've done zero work here.
That's the money shot right there.
Yeah, there you go. It's just that I have some combat routines laid out, but I need to wrap it all together so it's logical as far as, because there's a lot of months and months and months where you're just sailing around the Pacific, or you're back in dry dock, or you're not doing anything. There's actually a kind of a gap in Pacific action in 43. So, obviously Midway is easy to represent, the Coral Sea battle, easy to represent, and I can do all that, but once that's done, and the Solomons and Guadalcanal, there's kind of a gap till Tarawa, I think, till November 43. So it's sort of, I'm just wrestling with it personally. I will
figure out what type of routine or things they can do to keep the game interesting.
I will crack the nut. I promise you I will. But the thing is that the combat's really cool. It's based on interceptor ace combat, tried and true. So I know the combat works. The bombing is kind of cool. It works really nice too. That's based on another game I haven't released yet, which is Stewcase.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about the bombing routine of this game is the first time in my life I've ever requested a 12-sided die.
Nice.
So I have this big target array thing that has 12 targets in it, and the 13th that's not. So you actually roll a 12-sided die. So I actually called up a couple. Can you give me a 12-sided die? Oh yeah, no problem. Okay. Well,
they pretty much do whatever you ask.
If you're not slaying dragons in 1975, who uses a 12-sided die anymore? Nobody. But yeah, so I think this will be neat. I have the historical references. I'm confident. I'm really confident with the combat routines and the bombing routines. It's fun. It's cool. What I'm not happy about is the overall structure. So I have to somehow wrap it together so it makes sense for the player and he can move along. And does that make sense?
No, yeah, like the campaign stitching the bits together.
Yeah, in a way that's not only logical but historical. I can tell you right now, I'm leaning towards probably going to do time jumping.
Yeah.
You're going to fight for a while and then you're going to jump ahead 6 months or something. So there's.
What about remember in American Tank Ace you had the training school at the beginning?
Oh yeah.
Right? Is that something you could do during that lull as you get reinforcements? And
well,
I'm trying desperately to get something into one of your games.
That's actually you have just contributed to. I'm going to write that down actually.
Because you get after Midway and
wait. Say that again.
Well, that concept of the training school.
Training, but mid-game.
Yeah, but mid-game because you're after Midway. After the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot and those things, the Coral Sea, you're going to have new pilots coming.
All right. You will be mentioned in dispatches for this.
Okay, very good.
I'll put you. You don't get a free copy, but you will get mentioned in the back of the rule book.
Okay, sweet. How about a royalty?
No.
All right.
Actually, I lied. You probably will get a free game, and you know it.
I don't know if you remember.
I'll charge you for the T-shirt.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember a couple years ago, Dan Pancaldi playing West Front Ace Western Front Ace.
Yeah, I have a story for that.
Yeah, recommended that you
Gallantry.
You give up and you don't kill the guy.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that was a great.
You know what? The craziest thing, gallantry is like one of the favorite rules.
There you go.
In Western Front Ace of all these guys.
There you go.
There's a whole crew of folks on Facebook that they formed a squadron and everything. So.
Got it.
So
nice.
Western Front Ace has its fans that are, but I was blown away. So Dan Bacaldi, if you're out there, they love your gallantry rule, brother. It's been a hit, and
nice.
I didn't see that coming, but
there
yes, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
God, that was so long ago.
It was like 2019,
and
it feels like at least
2018, and it finally it's out, hit the street. But yes, you will be.
Okay.
All right.
Great.
That's a great idea.
Good.
It is absolutely.
Once again, every movie I've ever watched, there are devastating losses for these fighter groups. Right?
Yeah.
They had slower, less maneuverable planes, and they got eviscerated. So you're gonna have new green pilots coming on. Why not? Why not try to do something? That's might be interesting.
Yeah, I will. I had also already sort of thought about having that from the concept of. If you spend a month and you're just sort of sailing around, you still get an experience point.
You're still doing training.
Because you're still taking off and taking off, landing, and flying cap.
Yeah.
Or maybe doing recon missions, whatever. Anyway, all right, that's good. But that's
any idea? I mean, this is probably a couple years away.
Oh, this is just a gleam in Daddy's eye right now. Okay.
So it could be 2-3 years.
Well, I don't know. Again,
and you're slowing down. You've only got 4 prototypes. So
yeah. Well, I left 6 at home, but the next tank game after this one's going to be the German side. Okay. I know that for a fact because Bill requested it.
Sure, yeah.
And I presume a Soviet tank ace at some point.
That's after that. It's already done. The Soviet one is kind of really cool because I added the tank riders.
Oh,
that's awesome.
So the way that works is you get your own personal infantry squad that if you can order them to dismount, but if you take fire, they automatically dismount whether you want them to or not because they're not stupid. Yeah. So but the tank, so it's like your own personal infantry squad that fights with you, and I got rules for that. So that's kind of the new mechanic there in the Soviet games.
Nice.
And the German game was daunting. I just had a guy go through a full testing of the whole 9 yards, and he only had about 12 pages of things for me to fix, but that's good. I mean, that's why you do that. But it was a beast because it goes from Poland in 39, but that also utilizes time jumps.
Got it.
Right.
So what happens? Poland's done, you time jump ahead to France.
Yep.
France is over, you time jump ahead to North Africa. Or you could do Battle of Britain. That's done. You time jump ahead to Battle Britain. I'm thinking a different game.
In Italy.
Barbarossa.
Barbarossa goes next. Yeah, and then there's West Front or East Front, and there's all kinds of major events, and so it's not a whole lot different in that system. It's the same tank system, which is kind of tried and true at this point. So I'm really happy with it, how it's running. But there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
And there's 24 different tanks. And someone was saying, oh, you're going to get beat up because you don't have the Czech 38. Well, I don't have tank destroyers either. You can't live the Stug life.
There you go.
That's a shame.
Can't live the Stug life. You have to, but I have basically every model of Panzer III, every model of Panzer IV, all the Panzer Vs, of which there were 3, believe it or not, the D, A, and G. And then both of the King Tigers.
Okay.
All 3 Tigers.
Got it. Okay, you said that.
Yeah. So it runs nice. So I'm really happy with it.
So are we gonna get a Stug Life Ace?
I don't know. Yeah, that's. We'll see what happens. We'll see the feedback. I mean, don't count your chickens before they hatch.
One of the most feared tanks in the war, right? And you saw a Stug coming, your
assault gun.
Well, it's not really a tank, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, if I saw a Martyr 3 coming at me, I'm not sure I would be terrified. That thing looks like a washing machine with a pipe coming out the front. And, yeah.
So, Greg, I have a question for you.
Sure. I'm done with. So torment me.
Why do you do that? You come up with more games and more prototypes. What keeps you interested in doing it?
Well, that's kind of easy, actually.
Okay.
I love history. I get to learn about a lot of stuff I didn't know about before, right? Like the Kentish Knock light ship. Yeah, Google that one. So there's that aspect to it. I love gaming. I love war games. I have my entire life. Ever since I was a kid, I played war games. I still remember my first S&T magazine. It's like, holy crap, this magazine has a game in it. The destruction of Army Group Center. Oh my word. When you're, that was just, I was freaked out.
Better than that.
Yeah, so I'm just, as a veteran, I'm just fortunate, I think, that my combat experiences have helped me design better games. Oh, I know that American Tank Ace is a better game because of that. I have a sort of unique perspective, I think, that maybe not all designers have. But it is what it is. At least I have a perspective there that I feel confident.
Yeah.
In some of my rules.
Well, you understand the doctrine and the way it works.
Well, yeah, it was kind of funny. Somebody they're arguing about the artillery rule in American Tank Ace, and I had eroded it, and I was like, and they said, well, isn't that too much? I'm saying, well, look, having been on the receiving end of both, our mortars and artillery in real life, I can tell you, I'm comfortable with the rule. Yeah. So that was kind of, it's nice to have that confidence that, you sort of know how it was, at least in some aspects.
Yeah.
But having said all that, it's just, I just love it. It keeps me busy. I'm in my retirement. I love history. It's a no-brainer for me to do this. And really, people are like, oh, you design so many. Well, heck. It's my full-time job.
Yeah, there you go.
What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, that's true.
There it is.
Well, and there's a lot of people that like what you do, so
keep
doing it.
And I'm grateful for that, and I do like to think that I listen.
To the Maniacs.
Yeah, listening to the Maniacs is huge. That's very important.
Counters.
Well, and the other thing too, I was saying, maybe I'm not the best there ever was, and some of my games do better than others. But you know what? I'm very happy with the fact I haven't had a stinker yet.
Yeah.
Right? I
agree.
Can't complain about that. Maybe some are better than others. I will accept that criticism, but at least I haven't had a
real stinker.
a bomb, right? So I'm happy. I'm feel blessed, and I'm glad you guys took your time to talk to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, slightly off topic.
Sure.
You design an unconscionable amount of games and have made a lot of games. What's your favorite war game to play that's not one of your own?
Oh, on a personal level?
Yeah. What do you play?
Vaktam Rhine.
We have not played that.
Yeah. Big.
Old school SPI 4-mapper monster.
Yeah.
That's a nostalgia play for me. I played it as a younger lad.
Do you have a group that you play that with, or you just do it solo?
I used to, but some of them are dead now, so that's problematic.
Got it.
And do you have a game on your table currently?
Atlantic Wall.
Okay. Another game.
I just finished.
But also a massive game.
It's only got 5 maps.
Well, we are getting a table built
All right.
that will hold a 5-mapper.
There you go.
It's 9 feet long, which should be enough for.
The problem, the problem is that the Vaktam Rhine has the advantage. The advantage 4-mappers usually have is they're usually square or rectangular, shall I say? Whereas almost every D-Day game you'll ever play looks like an L.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Oh, look, it's.
The biggest game I own is SCS Day of Days, and it's a 5-mapper for D-Day invasion, and
it looks like an L.
It has an L.
Yeah, right. So there's that issue. But so I on a personal level, I tend to play the old SPI. Other SPI, I mean, I love Panzer Group Guderian. That's an old classic. This may sound, but I actually loved Ty Bomba's Case Geld.
Okay.
Out of the, I just thought that game was a blast.
Yeah.
So what it was is it was.
That's the Invasion of America.
It's like Invasion America, but instead of instead of a sequel, it's a prequel. Yeah. It's the Germans and the Japanese coming in and like, whatever, 47, 48, whatever your imagination desired. Yeah. But it was just a neat little thing because it had the same sort of. You ever played Battle for Germany, or seen it?
I know the game.
One guy controls the East Germans.
Yep. And
the Americans, and the other guy controls the Soviets and the West Germans.
Yep.
Well, you get that same thing in this. One guy's the Japanese, one guy's the Germans, but the Western Americans are run by the Germans, and the Eastern Americans are run by the Japanese. So it has that same dynamic.
It's kind of a fun
it's
thing.
just, is it silly? And yes. You're invading America in 47 with the Nazis.
Well,
but it's fun.
The war would have had to go completely a different way.
I played it like 10 times solid. It's just a blast.
Yeah,
You're killing lots of stacks of crap every turn. So, I mean, yes, I do actually play games. I would like to think of myself as a gamer, but I usually don't post-release. I don't play a lot of my own stuff because I'm just usually a little burned out at that point. I play them. But what is good for me is when I know actually one of my prototypes is going to be good is when I play it and I'm having fun. Mm-hmm. Because, and I probably ought to be half sick of it at that point, but no, I'm having a good time. So yeah, I'm happy with that. So there's that. Hopefully that makes sense.
Absolutely. Well, I'm very grateful that you spend time with us and sit down with us on camera to talk about these designs.
Always an honor. You're two of my favorite folks, so you know that.
Thank you.
A lot of very exciting things to come, especially Rebel Tide. Imperial Tide was incredible. Really, really having a blast.
I also want to point out you're reading a book on the Peloponnesian War. For what reason? I'll just put that back.
Just improving myself as a human being.
Okay, there you go. Spartan Tide, anyone?
That's actually not a bad idea.
But put me in the back of the rules.
Oh, I see. You can't stand to be stand to be upstaged by your partner. Is that it? Well, I'll tell you what. You're still my favorite. Some of my favorite people, despite the fact you're not going to edit out all my stupid parts. All right. Yes. I won't hold that against you.
Well, friend, we thank you.
Yes.
Hey, my honor, as always. You guys are great.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hang in there.
And thank you, everyone, for watching.
Yeah.
Appreciate you tuning in. I've been Alexander from theplayersaid.com.
Hey, these guys are doing the good work.
And I'm Grant.
Support them.